I'm making a multiplayer game where squid fight in small arenas and destroy each other to collect as much ink as possible. After my last video, I spent 2 weeks going on vacation and learning how to play piano, so I figured I should make up for some of the lost time. That's why I gave myself 24 hours to add as many items to my game as I could. So let's get started. Oh, and before the video starts, I'm happy to announce that Squid Squabble has a Steam page now, so go wishlist it right now or I'll wishlist you. I don't really know what that means. To start the 24 hours, I needed to pick which items I wanted to try to make. I already have a list of items that I plan to add, but some of those would probably take a day to make on their own, so I had to think of some new ones as well. The problem is I'm kinda struggling to come up with new items. Like, there are only so many ways to kill someone and I feel like I've already done all of them. Wait, no. I feel like I've already added all of them to my game. That should keep the FBI off my back. Anyway, after a couple hours I was able to come up with a few more items. Then I went to bed because it was already like 3 AM. I have crippling insomnia, somebody please help me. I woke up the next day bright and early to maximize the time I had to work. Wait, what? Ah, shit. Yeah, I only had 12 more hours to get everything done, so I cranked it into overdrive and got to work. I have no idea what I'm doing. The first item on my list was Squid Specter. When this item is used, the player ascends into the ethereal plane, allowing them to phase through everything for 4 seconds. The functionality of this item was easy to make. I just changed the physics layer of the player to something that doesn't interact with anything. However, he doesn't look very specter-y at the moment, but that's easy to fix. All I gotta do is crank down the transparency and... Whoa, what the f***? So, when the player is transparent, the spots where the different sprites overlap look more opaque than the rest. Now, there are 2 ways to fix this. I can make a custom shader that uses a stencil buffer to store data for every pixel, which I can then use to compare pixels in a stencil test that will check for occluded pixels. Or, I can use a render texture to render the entire player on one sprite using a... now which one to choose? Yeah, no way in hell was I gonna do either of those. Instead, I just slapped a sprite mask on the player and moved on. The difference here is that there is still some visible overlap, but it's good enough for now. And by good enough for now, I mean I'm probably never gonna change it. The next item was Ink Cloud. Circle. That's it, that's the item. Moving on. After that, I created Hook Mine. This item will attach to a wall, and when an enemy player walks in front of it, it will hook them to the wall and hold them hostage for a few seconds. Alright, so I have an idea of how to achieve the hook mine effect. I'm gonna try to use a spring joint, and what it should do is pull the player in. This little triangle here is supposed to be the hook anchor, so if I... Where'd it go? Oh! That is not supposed to happen. Okay, hold on. So I got that fixed up and it's working pretty well. I quickly made a projectile for the player to shoot that spawns a hook mine on any wall that it hits, and I use a raycast to detect when any unsuspecting victims stumble into the trap. Right now there's no visual for the hook or the detection ray, and the hook isn't predicted, so when you get hooked you look like you're teleporting all over the place. But whatever, that's future me's problem. Next up was a new attack item called Minefield. Now, you're probably saying, but didn't you just make another item with mine in the name? But you see, the thing is, that's because... So I made this little cluster of 3 naval mines that trigger a nuclear explosion upon impact with players or items. This item was fairly easy to make, since I already do something similar with another item that shoots 3 projectiles in a cone shape. So I basically just yoinked the code for that item and made the mines gradually slow down and bounce off walls. And just like that, another one down. Wait, why is that circle still there? So, after an unreasonable amount of time, I figured out that it was because of how I was spawning the explosion particles, because that makes sense. But anyway, all I had to do was make a build to test it. What the f? Why is it so long? I had to dig deep into my computer knowledge to figure out how I could possibly fix this. And that's when I remembered. Programmer rule number 1. Try running it again and hope that it fixes itself. I rebooted Unity and the error went away. And now everything was working as intended, but I'd been at my desk for a while, so it was time to get up and eat some dinner. After that, I began work on the final boss of this challenge, Inkjet. The base of this item is simple, I just shoot a little beam using a raycast. However, this item is kinda OP right now, just a teeny tiny bit. Yeah, so I had to find out a way to fix that. Now you may think, oh, that's simple, just add a telegraph beam. You sweet, naive, dumb, stupid little child. If only it were that easy. You see, every other item in Squid Squabble only has one part. You just click the fire button and then the item does the thing that it's supposed to do instantly. But this item has two parts. It needs a short telegraph beam that follows the player's hands and then the actual attack beam. So I made a coroutine that does a charge up animation and then the attack. But the attack beam is supposed to be in world space, so I actually need to spawn it as a separate object after the telegraph is over. Now that's not so bad, but we're not done here. On non-host clients, the attack beam completely ignores the player that it kills and goes straight through them, so I also needed to find a way to pre-calculate it in some form. And to make matters worse, Inkjet can't even destroy placeable items such as Coral Wall because those items detect when things hit them based on tags, so I needed to find a way to attach a tag to a raycast, which by the way is completely impossible as far as I know. This was a big problem. To fix this, I employed programmer rule number 2, find stupid workarounds that might come back to haunt you later. Long story short, spawn invisible projectile at end of beam, projectile hit player or item, draw beam between tentacle and projectile. Using this idea, everything is working now and I can finally rest. Haha, just kidding, bitch, you thought it was that easy? I also have to make icons for the items. This was pretty fun to do though, so it's all good. Here we have the icon for Minefield, Inkjet, don't pay attention to the shape, Squid Specter, look, it's like a little ghost, Ink Cloud, and Hook Mine. And just like that, my 24 hours were up. So let's recap. I made 5 items. Yeah. So what did I learn from this experience?